All right, everyone, welcome. We're here at the He Said, She Said Sports Talk Podcast. It's Monday, February 24th, 2025. It's a nice day out where I am at. How you doing, Tony? This is my host, Tony. I'm your host, Big Red. Um, I'm sitting in my truck right now. I'm at a video shoot with one of my brothers that I do business with. But yeah, I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee right now. But how you doing, Tony? How's it going?
I'm good. You got slightly better weather than me, but you being an Ohio guy, you'll know once it hits 40 degrees somewhere when it's
It's
cold
cool.
out, it's like t-shirt weather. So today we here in New York, we went over 40 degrees and I'm feeling good. The sun was out. So
Yeah,
definitely better weather where you are, but we're feeling it here in New York.
yeah, for sure. No, here in Nashville, it was like got up to 60 today, so it actually felt like real nice for sure. Like
Bummer.
I really don't need this hoodie on. I swear I don't. It's not cold at all. I promise. But yeah, no. I'm gonna start the show up a little different though. Before we get into the NBA, I just want to give a couple shout outs. Um, because I was here down in Nashville, obviously because my brother Jelly Roll, my homie Jelly Roll, he opened up his new bar here, Good Night Nashville. He had the grand opening. What was it, Thursday? Yeah, no, I just want
Thursday.
to say, well, yeah, he performed. It was excellent. I met a lot of good people. Hung out with Will Levis, the quarterback for the Titans. He's a real good guy, humble guy, cool guy. Shout out to Will Levis.
Is he as
Got the
obsessed with mayo as he claims to be?
I
Can
didn't
we
ask him
confirm?
about the Mayo. We never talked about the Mayo thing, but nah, he a good dude though. He has some good people around. He got some good people around him as well. No. So I'm definitely rooting for him. But I just want to say congratulations to Jelly Roll on this grand opening. Also, I want to give a shout out to my brother Doobie, who's doing that video shoot right now where I'm at. His new song "Worth a Shot" is skyrocketing up the charts and hitting radio play, Sirius
Oh, yeah.
Octane. So shout out to him. Shout out to my brother Highlight as well. And yeah, but yeah, I'm here in Nashville. We're gonna get it done either way. Kind of like Jalen Hurts said, rain, sleet, or snow. We
Let's get
trying to
it done.
go.
It's like
Yeah,
the three most boring weeks in
yeah, yeah.
sports right
In
now.
sports, yeah. Let's get
There's
into the
not
NBA
much
though.
going on, but we're gonna make something of all of it and we're gonna cover it all. We got
Hmm.
plenty to talk about today.
Yeah, yeah, we do for sure. A couple surprises too at the end, but let's get into the NBA. We're not gonna go over everything, but we're gonna talk about the main game. The Lakers and Denver.
Hmm.
Obviously the Lakers won that 123 to 100, a big blowout game. What'd you feel from that game? What'd you think about Luka and his mix, him, getting mixed in and getting in with the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was definitely a skeptic of the blend of two big names like Luka Doncic and LeBron James working together, but
Hmm.
it seems like he's acclimated really nicely into the team, and it was more seamless transition than I expected. The
Yeah.
Lakers, with that win, they move into the top five in the power rankings. They're sitting at fourth now, and
Hmm.
number one in scoring and number one in defense through the last 17 games, which is a humongous stat for them, especially if looking at the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
They aren't a very big team, and so to be number
Hmm.
one in defense over the last 17 games, major for them. I think they have a real chance to take the West.
I think so too, man. Who was the big man they just picked up as well? I think they just picked up someone, but I think they're going to be dangerous in the West. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if they'll be able to go all the way. You never know. I'm not going to put them past LeBron.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
yeah, and and with Dirk, or not Dirk, but with Luka Doncic there now, and those role players like Austin Reeves, and then, like you said, they're still playing good defense even without Anthony Davis. So
Reeves has become a good third option too. He's
yeah,
really
definitely,
coming into his own and in that role. So
yeah,
I like the
for
look of the Lakers right now. They seem like the hot team at the moment,
Hmm.
coming out, beating the Nuggets. That's big. I feel like maybe Luka cried on the phone to the Joker after apologizing for beating him. I feel like they're
Yeah,
good friends. I do. I feel
yeah.
like
I think they are good friends for sure. I think
like,
so too.
I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry I beat you.
Yeah, he put up 32, man. 32, 10, and
Made
7.
you.
He had a good game for sure. And then LeBron had 25, 9, and 5. So,
Yeah.
them two together, man, you never thought you would see those type of things. But
I'm curious to
LeBron,
see how it all pans out and then them just locking up Luca for the future and making sure that everything kind of continues to go as seamlessly as it seemed to so far.
yeah, no, definitely. Um, Another team out west, though, I would be kind of interested now to see with the Warriors with the whole Jimmy Butler. You
They
know,
look good.
yeah,
They look good. That's about all I can say about it right now. I'm hesitant to put any further opinions out there until I've seen a couple
uh-huh.
more games, but it looks promising.
Yeah, no, they beat the Mavericks the other night. They beat them bad. So, yeah, no, they definitely look good. It was funny to hear the little comment from Kerr and Jimmy Butler on the sideline. I don't know if you heard that when Curry was out there hitting the threes, and Jimmy Butler was like, "Yeah, it's good to be on this side of it now."
Right.
That was funny. But no, I mean Jimmy Butler, regardless of what people think about him, he's a player, and he's going to play offense and defense. He can bring a lot to the table. He can control the point guard position if he needs to, to let Curry run around. So, he's still able to do what he has to do. So that's a good piece for them, for the Warriors for sure, to
Good piece
contend.
for the Warriors. The Spurs took a big hit with Victor Wembanyama out for the rest of the season.
Hmm.
Blood clots in his shoulder area.
Yeah.
Honestly, just prayers to Wemby and
Yeah.
making
Quick
sure that
recoveries for sure, because he's
quick
definitely a
recovery
future
and gets back
future
healthy.
face of the NBA.
The blood
He's
clots
there.
are scary. They're dangerous.
Yeah.
And so hopefully he's able to be back next season, but that's a big hit for them.
No, definitely. And it just sucks because it sucks, but I think it's going to kind of help them because I don't think without Wemby they'll be much of a contender at
Mm.
all in the West, especially. So, it'll help them with their draft position in the
Yeah.
lottery. So maybe they can get another piece in the draft. They got Chris Paul there. They just picked up the kid from Sacramento. Um, he's slipping my mind right now, but they got some pieces there, and another draft piece could definitely take them over the top. I heard Pop wasn't coming back after this season, so that sucks. But everything don't last forever. So I'm sure he'll probably retire. I don't know if he'll go still coach or not, Greg Popovich, but we'll see. But no, let's jump into. I'm gonna let you roll this on the women's basketball. Yeah, well, it's been women's basketball been getting a lot of hate. I've been seeing a lot of hate in our comments too on the
Yeah.
women's basketball. Let me just tell y'all this right now. Y'all gonna stop hating on the women's. I read a comment earlier today saying, "Oh, it's boring. It's this, and that. It's slow." Listen, it's not. You can't compare it to men's basketball. Like yes, they're not dunking and all of that. But their basketball is just exciting. You know what I mean? Stop hating on the women's basketball. But yes, go ahead, Tony, for
Here's
sure.
the thing. You want to talk boring? All right. NC
Don't
State
get him,
lost to
Tony.
LSU. LSU lost to Texas. Texas lost to South Carolina. South Carolina lost to UConn. UConn lost to USC. USC lost to Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to NC State. NC State lost to South Carolina. South Carolina lost to UCLA. UCLA lost to USC, and so on. March is going to be crazy.
Crazy.
Tell me that that's boring, okay? That's insane. There's a brand new AP poll out this week. Texas is at number 1 finally, followed by UCLA, Notre Dame, USC, UConn, South Carolina sitting at 6, LSU 7, North Carolina 8, and NC State 9, and TCU rounds out your top 10, and any single one of those teams can win the chip. That's how crazy
Definitely.
women's college basketball
It's so wide open, and I love every bit of
it's
it. It's
wide
you don't know,
open.
yeah. And then
NC
you
State
always have your underdogs too, and the tourney too. So it's gonna be crazy
NC
for
State pulled
sure.
out the game of the weekend for me. They won in overtime against Notre Dame at NC State, took down Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. Both of
Mm-hmm.
those ladies fouled out in overtime. Crazy game. And it just
Yeah.
reminded me how much NC State gets overlooked. Sny
Mm-hmm.
Rivers and Isaiah James are incredible. They're such a good backcourt duo. All of last March Madness, as they were making their run, I was yapping on the internet about those two and how overlooked they are. And then I
Yeah.
went and overlooked them again this year. And I don't know how that happens. I don't know if, not to get crazy on here, but I don't know if they're just a little too hood for the mainstream. But they get overlooked a lot, and there's so much talent on that NC State team.
Yeah, I love the NC State team. Zoe Brooks. It's like every week you put me on because, like I said, I love women's basketball, but I'm getting more into it because of you. So every week I kind of check out a different player, and like this week, I checked out that Notre Dame game, and Zoe Brooks was the one who stood out to me. Like she
Yeah, it's
balled
a
out. I
loaded
was like,
roster. People
I didn't know who
forget.
she was before this game. I didn't know who she was. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah,
like I watch her, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely got to watch her. I'm like, this baby wide open for real.
I know.
Even
And
when
then
it come tournament time.
last week we talked about AZ Fudd on UConn and how Paige was a role player. And this week, Paige went out and put up the numbers. So
Yeah.
UConn again peaking at the right time. They looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Texas and Madison Booker still look like the number one team to me, but it's anybody's game. And
Yep.
that is the beauty of women's college basketball right now is I can make a case for any single one of those top 10 teams to win the national championship this year.
You definitely can. And it's like I said, I'm paying more attention to it, and I definitely like it, even with the WNBA as well. But like women's college basketball, like and the girls from Notre Dame, I love them. The guards from Notre Dame, the
Hannah
uh,
Hidalgo and Olivia
man,
Miles. Olivia
they
Miles is set to be a top draft pick this year.
man, they are fire. They are scrappy. I like them for sure. Notre Dame's got a good, solid team, even though they lost. They're still they're still in the hunt. They're not out of the thick
I
of
read
things for
something
sure.
crazy like Hannah Hidalgo has scored like 20 plus points in every single game of her career, her college career.
Hey,
Fact check me on that one.
I
I'm
could
pretty
believe
sure
that
that was
because
the stat.
she got a shot on her. She's a baller. She's a certified baller for sure.
I'm not sure the people love her um
Mm-hmm.
for a number of reasons, but she is a baller and you can't deny it.
Definitely can't for sure. Definitely can't. But yeah, no.
Not even
So
worth watching the men's game anymore, in my opinion.
no, I
I'm
ain't gonna
not
say
even
that.
paying attention.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna say that. I can't agree with that. But don't get me wrong, the hate got to stop on the women's for
It definitely
sure.
does.
You
Yeah.
know, and like I love the excitement that and the energy and knowledge that everybody's getting from the women's, and how it's expanding, right? But I just feel like people can't take away, like, let the women's just be the women's. It's expanding, it's growing. Okay, that's cool, you
Yeah.
know. And it's just like, okay, the men's is the men's. The men's is always the men's. You feel me?
They're
And
so
it's just like,
separate. They're so
yeah.
separate. And there's a reason why we keep them separate, right? Kelsey Plum said something in an interview this week. I think it was this week that like they asked her what NBA player she thinks she could beat in a one-on-one. And she straight up said,
Mm-hmm.
none of them. We're so different. The men's game is completely different from the women's
Yeah.
game. They're completely separate. That's why they're separate. Like just based
Mm-hmm.
on size alone, they could back her up into the post and make layups. She's like, how am I going to defend it? She goes, I could score a couple points, but how am I going to defend them? They're two completely separate games. And if you keep comparing the men's game to the women's game, yes, you're going to think maybe that the women's game is boring because there's
Boring.
not
Yes,
as much
exactly.
volume scoring. There's no dunking. There's no whatever, but it's just a completely different game. And to me, the women play the most sound basketball, and maybe it's a little less entertaining, but as a
Mm-hmm.
basketball coach, I love watching the women.
No, definitely. Me too. Like I said, and I'm getting more into it. I didn't watch it as much, but as it started growing, I started getting more into it. And definitely because of you as well, like I spoke on earlier.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the tug of war between the two, it just kind of they just need to cut the scissors, take the scissors and cut the rope. Like the women's is the women's, the men's is men's. The women's is growing, so don't try to belittle the men's because of the women is
Right.
growing. It's just like, but
Absolutely. You know what men's team though I am a huge fan of? St.
who's
John's.
that?
Their defense. I watched a game the other night. Their
Mm-hmm.
defense is lockdown. That is a
Yeah,
sound defensive basketball team. And teams aren't scoring a lot against them. And I think that's why they're sitting where they're sitting, because they're not a crazy high volume scoring offense, but they're
no,
so
definitely. They're
locked
ranked
down
like
on
number
defense.
7. Yeah, they're good. They're a good squad for sure. They beat DePaul. That was like Wednesday night, I think.
Yeah, the game I
Yeah,
watched,
yeah.
the defense was phenomenal. And
Mm-hmm.
just you're sitting there watching and they're just playing a man defense, and the way that they move in help and they switch, and oh,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. Like it was
That
really
Big East,
impressive to
like it looked
watch.
like old Big East basketball
And the
for sure.
one thing that was absolutely incredible to me was you could
Mm-hmm.
hear them talking on defense
Yeah.
through the TV. Like they were
They're like
picking it up
screaming. Yeah.
on the TV how much they were talking. And as a basketball coach, that's all I tell my girls on defense, right?
You can never have too much communication.
You can play good individual defense, but if you're not communicating with your teammates and you're not stepping up and help and you're not getting steals, you're not getting transition points, you're not so communication is the biggest X factor for putting your defense over the top. And the fact that I could
Mm-hmm.
hear St. John's through the TV and that the network was picking it up, so impressive to me.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. Um, I hate to do this because, it's my hometown team, but man, the Buckeyes are sad this year, man. It's been like that a few years. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's just happened, but it's like I don't know what the hell is going on with the Buckeye program, man. Like they lost another game. UCLA had the shout out to UCLA too for doing a little remembering for Bill Walton. Um, Also, I think UCLA's coach won his like 500th game, which I feel like they kind of set that game up for Ohio State just because you know how teams like set up a game they know they're going to win for somebody. I feel like they literally did that with the Buckeyes. Like, yeah, we'll beat them. Like they are bad, man. I don't. They got some good pieces for sure. They got some young good pieces, but I mean I don't see them. They'll be in the NIT for sure this year, in my opinion, unless they just have a complete 360 turnaround the rest of the year, which I don't see happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
be honest, I don't tune into a lot of Buckeyes games.
yeah, I don't see why you would. You know what I mean? Like they are bad. You wouldn't be missing nothing. I promise. There's not a lot. It's like a headache. My one of my good friends, my homie Greg, he's like be pulling out his hair over the Buckeyes basketball, and I just tell him all the time, like, bro, they don't got it for sure.
What else is
But
sticking out to you on the men's landscape?
um, Michigan State beating Michigan stood out to me. To
Mm-hmm.
them taking over the big top of the Big Ten. Tom Izzo, obviously he's a future walking Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys are playing well. I like how Bama bounced back from their loss. They
Mm-hmm.
played well. They're still in it. They're not out of it. They'll be a contender for sure, in my opinion, at the end, and Auburn as well. I
Auburn's
mean,
still
just
sitting pretty. They look
yeah,
phenomenal. Yeah.
mm-hmm, yeah. Auburn, they're definitely doing their thing. But the whole SEC, they're just solid. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
you know, but no, definitely. I'm just ready for the brackets to come out after the conference tournaments, you know?
I know. It is like the slowest couple of weeks in sports. There's not
Hmm.
much going on at all. I mean, there's still basketball going on, but it's not all that important basketball until we get to those conference tournaments now at this
Yeah,
point. And there's absolutely no football, which I am still going through like withdrawals of.
yeah, all we
Um,
all for
we're
sure. We
past
already
all the
know.
all-star breaks. Baseball's just starting spring training. We don't have much action going on.
Hmm. No, you're right about that for sure.
Maybe
But
the only other slowest couple of weeks are like that July period.
there's been a little action on the ice though with the NHL and the
Yes.
hockey. Yeah,
Yeah,
what you think about
the
that?
four nations.
Yeah, the Four Nations. Yeah.
I just I just have to commend the NHL for the job
Hmm.
they did putting this together out of thin air, forgoing their traditional all-star game, right? And putting together this Four Nations face-off tournament.
Well.
What that did for viewership of the NHL, for patriotism and pride in your country, they
Hmm. It was
they
genius.
they captured in an era where I feel like, and we talked about it last week, everybody is struggling to figure out their respective all-star
They definitely outdid the NBA
situation. They
for sure.
created a blueprint. They captured lightning in a bottle and they dominated the all-star situation, in my
Hmm.
opinion, for every single league. This is how you do it. They nailed it, and I think they should keep doing it because
Yeah.
I have never been that invested in hockey. It's never really been my sport. It just wasn't one that like I grew up watching, and so it wasn't ever one
Same
that I was
here.
super attached to.
Hmm.
I learned
Definitely.
so much this week about hockey. I literally couldn't name you a player last week. And now I'm like, I better pick a team, but I don't know how to pick a team now because like I'm sitting there like I like all these players from USA,
Players on different, yeah, from
all the players from
Canada.
right? They're all
Yeah.
on different teams. How did they do that?
Hmm.
How did they all come together and just decide on that pride? Phenomenal. Phenomenal job. And the one thing that I think the NHL and ESPN did really well that I actually saw criticism for online was blending the 45th anniversary of like the Miracle on Ice, that
Yeah.
1980 US hockey team winning against Russia in the Olympics
Hmm.
or the Soviet Union in the
Yeah.
Olympics. Um, they blended like that whole situation and they created all this promotional material out of the Herb Brooks Miracle movie speech,
Hmm.
blended that with Team USA and the Four Nations Face Off and as marketing, right? And
Yeah.
to seamlessly blend like patriotism, nostalgia, all of these things and package it all together captured the non-hockey viewer market so
Yep.
well. I had people like asking me if I wanted to like get together and do like a watch party for
Yeah.
Thursday
No,
night's
for
final.
sure. I was just going to speak on that because I was like, I've never, like you said, I never really watch hockey like that. I peek in on it. I know certain players for sure,
Mhm.
but I'm not like a big watcher, and I don't see a lot of it on my feed. But with this 14, I've been seeing it all on my feed all day long. People commenting and putting it on their posts, the whole nine. So, it's definitely touching more people for sure. And people are interested. And, obviously, it helps, with the room for your country or, like I said, you just room for your favorite player, but it definitely is tapping in. And the NHL they outdid the NBA
Yeah,
100% with the All Star thing
I think it was
for
it was a
sure.
great model that they had in place. And then they got really lucky with timing that while the very boring NBA All-Star game was going on, The first USA-Canada matchup was also going on, where there were
Mm-hmm.
3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
9 seconds,
And
yeah.
people were online going,
And loving
"Look at
it.
these guys willing to lay their life down for their country, and these
Uh-huh.
NBA players can't even be bothered to try."
Yeah.
So they got a little bit lucky with the timing of that, and then they used that to catapult an entire marketing campaign all week last week using the miracle speech. And again, I saw criticism online for it that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, USA isn't the underdog and it's not the same thing as what happened in Miracle. And it's like, guys, you're missing the mark. You're missing,
Yeah.
they're not comparing this USA hockey team that they put together for the Four Nations face-off to
Mm-hmm.
that Miracle team. That's not what they're doing. And they didn't use parts of the speech that would have made it seem that way. What they did was capture the nostalgia of it and the spirit of the patriotism of that moment, because
Yeah.
also Saturday was the 45th anniversary of that game.
Mm-hmm.
They brought out Mike Rizzo, the team captain from that 1980 team, as the honorary team captain for Team USA in that faceoff.
Yeah.
I just think that I think people were missing the point that we weren't comparing those two teams. That's not what that marketing promotional situation was. And I don't think you could overdo it. And maybe it wasn't for the hockey fans. Like, I don't think it was for the deep, deep hockey fans. It was for the people like you and me
Yeah. Who don't pay
needed a
attention to it
reason
as
to
much.
watch it.
Yeah,
And
given a
I'm
reason.
sitting there going, shoot, like everything going on in the world. And I'm out here chanting USA, USA on a Thursday night in late February. I cared
Mm-hmm.
so much about the result of a game. And it was a
Yeah.
hockey game at that. So I think they nailed it across the board, and they captured a moment, and phenomenal job. I commend them.
Phenomenal. Yeah, they
And
definitely did
now
good.
I think they've gotten a lot of new hockey fans, myself included, because I'm
Yeah.
gonna figure out which player I connect the most with, and I'm gonna start rooting for a team.
Yeah, no, definitely. Shout out to Canada for winning it
Yeah.
for sure. And Connor McDavid with the game-winning goal. I do know about Connor McDavid. He is a beast for sure. I was in Canada last year up there in Edmonton, and they were in the playoffs during that time. And I want to say they got some hockey up there is like football here for sure. It's totally different up there, and they love Connor McDavid. That's all. He's like the only jersey I saw out there mostly. So shout out to him and shout out to Canada for getting it done. Also, there was a big card this weekend in the boxing. We'll touch on it a little bit. Obviously, the main card was Better Beves versus Bevo. Bevo ended up winning that, becoming an undisputed champion again. You had Parker versus Martin Bacall, which I want to say Bacall was the favorite and had the belt, but he lost to Parker in the second round with a KO. I think Bacall was just out of shape or something. He looked it off. He didn't look like himself in that one. But the one I want to talk about is the Shakur Stevenson fight against the Padley guy, which that he basically took the fight on. I want to say maybe a week before, like a week's notice. Um, but he was like basically like doing construction and got called to come fight a world champion, you know. So he ended up losing in the ninth round. He got KO'd, hit with a body shot. You know, Stevenson, he's definitely skilled and has a lot of precision. And he was just hitting him with body shots and just tagging him upper, hitting him top bottom until he took him down in the ninth. But shout out to the Padley guy. I give him a lot of credit. He came off the street and came in there and he gave Stevenson a little work. He didn't make it easy. Took him to the ninth round. That's not easy to do coming off the street for sure. But did you see any of that card over the weekend, or did you pay attention to any of that?
I did not get a chance, man. I
Yeah,
told
it
you
was hard.
I'm
It was
loaded
so
up
hard
on
for me
women's
to.
basketball. I'm all in on the women's basketball. So my weekend was pretty packed. with all of that, but I didn't get a chance to see it. I saw some highlights of it. Impressive being able to take him to the ninth round for sure. That to me was the biggest um, fight on the card. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the highlights. You got to tell me what to look out for in the coming weeks here. What other
Yeah,
fights I
no,
should be
that
paying
and
attention to?
Stevenson did call out Javante Tank Davis too. He need that fight happen. I know Tank had fight want to March somewhere in March. But they need to make that fight. Stevenson needs to happen.
I
Those
will say I
I don't
love
know
the
who's ducking who.
drama. I love the drama of the call out. That's my favorite part of
Yeah.
boxing is the
Like after the
dramatic
fight,
call out.
Stevenson called him out, which
Yeah.
he's been trying to fight Javante. But he says Javante's been ducking him. So I don't know who's ducking who, but they need to make that fight happen. I don't like when the boxers, everybody needs to fight everybody like it was back in the day. Back in the day, nobody ran from nobody. If you was a fighter, you was going to fight everybody around. There was no ducking and anybody, all this ducking to try to keep their undefeated record and all of that. It's just like, I don't like that. But they need to make that, so they need to make that fight happen. Tank Davis and Stevenson for sure.
They definitely need to
But
make it happen because people like me, we just watch the big stuff. So, I mean,
mm-hmm,
I love a good fight. It's not something that I follow super closely, but I love a good fight.
yeah.
What that says about me. But I
No, for
do.
sure. All right, well, no, for sure. Let's get into a little NFL. We know the season's over, but
Combine coming up this week.
yeah, got the combine coming up this week. Where the players going to go. Show their skills, and some people are going to draft stocks are going to rise. Some people's are going to fall. It's just how it goes. But
Yeah, I think the biggest news to come out of that is that Shedeur Sanders, one of the two top quarterback prospects out of Colorado, he is not going to be participating in the skills part of the
mm-hmm,
combine. He's going to be focusing on team interviews and allowing the teams to get to know him. It's a highly divisive decision online and something that a lot of sports media is talking about, whether they think that's a good idea or a bad idea for Shedeur. I'd love to hear what
mm-hmm.
you think. I have my opinion.
My opinion, I wish he would throw. I mean, if you're not gonna throw, then don't go to the combine. Don't take the invite because you're taking the invite away from somebody else that could have
But a
that
lot of guys
invite.
have done this. He's not the first.
You're right. I'm not putting this on Shador. I'm just saying the guys who hold out. I just me personally, I don't like it because it's like why not just deny the whole combine? That way, someone else can get the that invite. Guys are out there putting their lives on the line, blood, sweat, and tears, trying to make it to the NFL, trying to get an invite, trying to be seen. So why not just don't go to the combine or don't accept the invite if you're not
Yeah,
going to do everything. Now, if you're injured, I understand that. But if there's nothing wrong with you, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be out there doing this, what everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the whole,
yeah.
it's bougie. To me, it's just bougie. Like I like Shador. I don't have nothing against Shador. I just, that's just my opinion when it comes to combine. Like, if you're not gonna do everything, if nothing wrong with you, we see you out there training with Cam Ward, so you look healthy to me. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And from that perspective, I do agree with you, right? Like I love the spirit of competition. I love the to be able to kind of honor the fact that you got invited.
mm-hmm,
And so from that respect, I do agree with you. However, this is something that is done fairly regularly. And for a guy like
it
Shador,
is.
I think that it's fairly smart tactic. Let the tape speak for itself. He'll throw it his pro day. Um, but to focus on the conversations that you're going to be having with teams and allowing teams to get to know you, this is a really limited draft class. And there are probably teams that are looking at trading up for a quarterback. It's super possible that we could see trade attempts for this draft. I don't know that anything will take because I think that everybody at the top has very specific needs. But for Shedeur Sanders, I think it is a smart play on his part. Unfortunately, because I would love to see him throw too, and I would love to see him kind of shut down the haters in some regard
Mm-hmm.
and like that think that he is a bougie, too cool for this, too good for this. Because I don't think he is that way. I think this is probably more on his team than anything else coming up with the smart play for him, which is to let teams see his brain and how his brain works and let them in. Personally,
Yeah.
for a guy like Shedeur, you're going to be investing in a franchise quarterback potentially. And you saw what happened with like Caleb Williams last year, who had a very letdown first season on a team that should not have been as disappointing as it was. So teams are going to be putting a lot of stock into the guy that they're drafting, not just, I mean, they know what the arm is, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
for Shedeur and Cam Ward, they know what the arm looks like. It's going to be situational stuff. It's going to be talking about plays, talking about who they are as people. And I do think that there is a veil of mystery to who
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders is as a person. And I think it's a great opportunity for him to talk to some teams.
No, for sure. And you're right. As far as that aspect, you're right. Like getting to know the team, teams getting to know him, getting a feel for him. I totally get that aspect, but I just hate the not throwing aspect when there's nothing wrong with you, or not doing the drills when there's nothing wrong with you.
100%.
But yeah, no, for sure. But speaking of the mock drafts, we both did our own top 10 mock draft. I'll let you go first with yours, and you just go in order, and whoever you got on the teams for your mock draft, and we'll
Yeah, I
see
mean,
how ours compare
yeah, let's actually go one
back to
for
back.
one here. So the Tennessee
Well,
Titans
let's start at let's. You want to start at 10?
Let's start at one. What are we doing? I don't want to go backwards. Come on. Don't no, let's not go backwards.
Because
What are we
I
doing?
mean, you just said
Every
it.
mock draft starts at one. We're not surprising nobody here. And I think number one is we might actually disagree here. I don't know.
Yeah, we might for sure. Who you got at one?
So for the Tennessee Titans at number one, I think they should elect to take Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. Um, he has, the most clout coming into this draft, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
the highest draft stock at the moment. And I know your boy Will Levis was good to you this weekend, but I do think the Titans
We not doing my boy Will like
I think
that.
the Titans need to invest in their future a little bit. I don't know if they're the right fit for Will Levis. He seems to have not had as much success there as he could, and I
Well,
do think
he
that
don't really got no weapons.
I think he
He
has some
doesn't have any weapons.
potential. I don't know. I don't know if, it's too soon for him to be starting or what, but I can't see them passing up on a Cam Ward.
All right, well, my first pick for them, well, speaking of Will Levis, I think they should go Travis Hunter, number one, because my opinion, I like Cam Ward, I like Shedeur, but my opinion, I don't think they're generational. I don't think they're future franchise quarterbacks. Yeah, they might. I think they might be good. The next year's draft
Next
class,
year's loaded.
that's going to be the loaded one. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I think Titans are taking Travis Hunter to give Will Levis a weapon. Obviously Hunter's going to play defense as well, which is going the Titans need that, and he'll be in on packages. I can assume with them on offense. So give me Travis Hunter for the Titans at number one. I think they're going to take him and give Will Levis a chance because that's my guy.
Mm-hmm. I thought we would disagree there. Um, at number two, we have the Cleveland Browns right
Cleveland
now.
Browns. Mm-hmm.
And if they do trade, fulfill Myles Garrett's request and trade him, which we'll see. Not sure what's going to happen there, but they are
Uh-huh.
going to need to replace him. And so for their pick, I think they should take Abdul Carter out of Penn State.
Nah, I got that same pick right there. Because I think Myles Garrett is definitely. I don't think he'll be playing with them this year. I think they're going to definitely have to trade him. And I think Abdul Carter will be that fit for them. I don't think they need to go quarterback. I think they need to go get somebody like Kirk Cousins or maybe Aaron Rodgers or something.
They need to start building
Yeah,
other pieces and
other pieces. Yeah,
maybe rely on next year's draft for a quarterback
yeah,
again, like you
exactly.
said, a much more loaded draft class. So
Hmm. All right, at number three, the New York Football Giants. Who you got?
Giants. So for this one, I think this is a great spot for Shedeur Sanders. I do.
Okay.
The Giants are one of my top two landing spots for Shedeur. They need a quarterback, and unless they plan on holding off and trading up big next year,
Hmm.
I think this is the spot for them to take it. They've been teetering around in La La Land for a couple of years with Daniel Jones, hoping that he panned out and he just never did. They let go
Yeah,
of
definitely.
Saquon to keep Daniel Jones, and look how that turned out. And so I think they need to take a big swing here and go for the guy that I think could be a great piece to start rebuilding their franchise. I like the look of Shedeur throwing to Malik Neighbors. I think that'll be
Yeah.
a very successful duo for the Giants and a great way to rebuild. And like
Hmm.
I've said time and time again, Shedeur is proven to make things happen even without a strong offensive line. And so the
Yeah.
Giants could potentially still see some success even while they're rebuilding. And I think that's going to be really important for them. So that's what I've
Well,
got.
yeah, my pick right there. You got Shador. I got Cam Ward right there. I feel like Cam Ward is the guy for the Giants right there. At pick number three. I like Cam Ward. I don't have nothing against him. He's polished guy for sure, but he just doesn't win. He didn't win the big games in college, you know. So it's that's that factor there. But I like him at the Giants right there for sure. With that pick.
I think maybe the Giants trade up for him too. It's a likely possibility that they do try to trade up for that. Um,
Yeah,
trade
I
with the
wouldn't put it
Titans
past them. They
because
definitely
the
need a
Titans don't
quarterback.
necessarily need the first pick. They have so many needs that they could fill
Yeah.
that anything in
Hmm.
the top three they could absolutely be successful with. So
Yeah, them Titans gonna want something in return. Hopefully the Giants got it to give for sure. But yeah, who you got at the number four for the Patriots?
for the Patriots, that for me is the spot for Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Drake May needs pieces to
Yeah.
throw to. So I think
Hmm.
they could package that nicely for him.
Yeah.
Um,
And they'll play
First of all, I
defense
want
as
to say
well.
my 4 and 5 are interchangeable. And I'll say right now for 5 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, that's where I have Tedero and McMillan, another wide receiver. So I do think they could go either way. I could see Travis Hunter with some specialty packages in
Hmm.
tandem with Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jaguars. So I think
Yeah.
it could honestly go either way.
So you
But
got two receivers back to back right there. Yeah.
I think for number 4 for the Patriots, I know a lot of Patriots fans were hopeful that T. Higgins is going to be available, and I'm going to
Hmm.
sit here and say that I don't think he will be. So I think going for a wide receiver option could be really beneficial for them in that spot. So either take Travis Hunter, who's a dual threat, or Tedero McMillan, who's a great wide receiver.
Got you. Those two picks right there I got for the Patriots, I had them going offensive lineman. I had them
That's
going
another smart decision too.
yeah, Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. Before he got injured, had a season-ending injury. He was balling. He was a killer for sure. I got them taking him, and then in Jacksonville, I got them taking cornerback Will Johnson from Michigan. They definitely need some back end help in that position, so I got them taking Will Johnson for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But next, you got the Las Vegas Raiders. Who
Hmm.
you who'd you
That's
take?
where I have Will Johnson. I
Okay,
think
that's where you have Will.
the
Okay,
Raiders
that's
defense
not bad.
ranked dead last.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as he can stay healthy, he fits in really well with any defense, in my opinion. And I think Pete Carroll is going to look to be improving that defense.
No, I got you. Right there is where I got Shedeur going, Las Vegas.
That's my other top 2 landing spot for Shedeur.
Yeah. Whether they Raiders move up to go get him or not, I just feel like that's where he's going to end up going to. Obviously, he has the ties with Brady. He trained with Brady, or he signed to the TB12, something like that. But I just think that's a good fit for him. Pete Carroll's there. They hired Chip Kelly as the OC. So, yeah, with Shedeur there, I think that's a good fit for him. Who do you have at number 7 for the Jets?
Okay. I want to be clear here. I think the Saints should trade with the Jets for their pick.
I
So
mean, they're a little light in here.
in my mock draft, I have the Saints trading up so that they can jump 2 spots. They can get ahead of the Panthers, who are a division rival for them, and go secure Mason Graham out of Michigan. I think they need to take that choice away from the Panthers, and they have a desperate need on the interior. So
You said who was that? What team you said moving up to 7?
the Saints.
Saints? Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I have that same pick there for the Jets, Mason Graham.
I think he's a great pick there for either team, but I think that the Saints should go get that
Get him,
pick
yeah.
because both the Saints and the Panthers have need for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so to go secure it over your division rival is, I
Yeah,
think,
it's big, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, no, I think he's a good fit right there for the Jets. He would be a good fit for the Saints as well if they were to move
And
up
then
at that
I
spot.
think the Jets can wait on tight end Tyler Warren because they have a need
Yeah.
there too.
They have a
So
need
they
there
can
too
jump
as
into
well.
the 9 spot because the Panthers should absolutely be going defense with their first pick of the draft. So I have them with James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee.
Okay, and then at number 8 you have Carolina.
That's for Carolina. I have them going James Pierce Jr., the edge.
James Pierce? Okay.
Yeah.
I have them going Michael Williams from Georgia, the edge as well. So
Yeah.
obviously they need help at edge.
That's what I mean. And yeah, go get defensive guy for them.
New Orleans. You said that you had them jumping up to get Mason Graham.
Yeah. Who do you have them at with 9?
I have them eat. I kind of got a 2. I couldn't choose which one, so I wrote them both down. But Jalen Walker, the linebacker from Georgia, and then Tatoa McMillan. I know I'm slaughtering his name, but from the receiver from Arizona, I think those are 2 good picks for New Orleans. They couldn't go wrong with either of those at number 9. Chicago at 10. Who do you have?
So I think that a big move for Chicago in the offseason is going to be building the interior offensive line. They have to protect Caleb Williams. I'm going to say that again in a few minutes when we talk about a couple of other things. But I don't know if it's likely because it's going to be so expensive to go get like 3 legitimate starters for the offensive line. So I think that they go interior offensive line here and get out of LSU.
Yeah. You said who? Will Campbell?
Will Campbell, LSU.
That's who I got right there too.
Yeah,
Swear.
that's the pick for them.
They need O-line for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, they have a lot of building to do around Caleb Williams. They got it. They have to start protecting him, or you're never gonna see what he can be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. We're still gonna stick with the NFL. We're gonna talk about. This is just our wish list. We're gonna do a little wish listing.
Yes.
Top 5 off-season moves that you want to see on your wish list.
All right. Drum roll, number 5. I just talked about it. The Bears need to build an offensive line to protect Caleb Williams. That is number 5 on my wish list. I think they have a great new head coach in Ben Johnson. I think he's smart, specifically offensively. I mean, he's great offensive mind, and I think that he knows that they have to get out there and protect Caleb Williams. I'm excited to see what his future could be with new coaching staff and with protection. So I would love to see that.
All right, what's your next one?
Number 4, I
Number
would
4.
love to see the Detroit Lions take a big swing in this offseason. Go get a huge defensive name to pair with Aiden Hutchinson. And
Like a Max Crosby
go
or
get
something?
Max Crosby or Myles Garrett.
Okay.
I think if you have 2 huge names on your defensive, right? Like, I just think the idea of seeing them all together is so exciting to me. And I do think the Detroit Lions have a very small Super Bowl window right now with Goff, at the helm of things with quarterback. They have so much talent. They're so front loaded with talent on the offensive side. Their defense really suffered so many injury setbacks this year. And now they've lost their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. So, I mean, I just think they need to take a big swing, go get another big name, load up the defense, shore everything up defensively, and really just go for it. I think they can win a Super Bowl. I think they
for sure.
can win this coming Super Bowl. So that's number 4 for me. Go get a big pass rusher.
All right, cool. What's number 3?
Number 3, I think the New York Jets should go try to get Matt Stafford. I know last week I said Justin Fields would be a good project for the Jets and an interesting choice for them. But the more and more that I'm hearing stuff on the chatter online is that Rams are looking to part ways with Matt Stafford. And that is a guy that's a proven winner. The Rams did it where they traded for him, right? And then they went out and won a Super Bowl. I think that he's still got a couple more years left in him. And if the Jets want to try to make a play with some of the talent that they currently have, that's a really great option for them. And I think it could be really exciting to see the Jets team that they currently have with Matt Stafford instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I got you. That's not bad. That's not a bad wish on the wish list for sure.
Number 2
Number 2
is controversial because I don't really want to see it happen because it's bad for me and my Bengals.
Okay.
But if I was unattached, right?
Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs need a left tackle. We saw them get Mahomes got rocked.
Yeah.
Left tackle could not compete. And they haven't had anybody solid at left tackle in a couple of years. And I just think if you really want to shore up that offensive line, like you have to get a real solid like franchise offensive tackle, right? Like, or left tackle. So bad for me, bad for business, but
hey, it's all good.
I think for a
it doesn't
team,
have to favor you either.
yeah, they're a team that might end up in the Super Bowl again next year. Let's be really honest with ourselves.
Well,
and if they want to do that and they want to go win another Super Bowl, that's the thing they have to do. That's what their team needs right now.
Got you. All right,
and
numero uno.
The number 1 thing that I want to see happen this offseason. What do you think it is?
T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and everyone stay in Cincinnati. That would be
Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, and T. Higgins long-term contract extensions. I would love to see it. You saw this week the NFL announced a significantly larger cap than the year prior.
They did.
More and more reasons for the Bengals to pay their guys and draft a defense. That to me is the
I
biggest
already know. I kind of figured that was your
the biggest
numero uno
thing
for sure.
on my wish list. I saw something crazy. I want to bring it up. I put it on my TikTok earlier this week. I saw something crazy on ESPN this week. There was an article that got
Hmm.
released that said the thing that the Cincinnati Bengals needed to do this offseason was trade Trey Hendrickson.
I saw that.
Whoever wrote that article has not watched a Bengals game
Yeah.
at all. I mean, that's absolutely insane. That's insane.
Well.
We need a defense and we need to build around our defense and to trade away your veteran sack leader. I just think that's fucking nuts. That's nuts. That was a
Hmm.
nuts take. I couldn't believe that I saw that actually for real on the internet. That is like a Steelers fan that wrote that or something. I don't know what was going on. I don't
Yeah,
know why on
probably for
earth we
sure.
would trade
I
trade
would
away
not trade
Trey
him.
Hendrickson. That's crazy.
Yeah. I
But yeah,
would try
that
to
is
work
my
everything
top
out.
5 off-season moves for NFL teams. Do you have a list for us?
Yeah, I got a list. I'm gonna just roll through it quick. No explanations. I'm gonna just uh number 5. I'm gonna start at number 5. Cooper Cup goes to Dallas, and I'm not a Cowboys fan by a long shot, but that would help them tremendously. Dak needs all the help he can get. But yeah, number 4, Devontae Adams goes to the Chiefs. Even though I'm not a fan of the Chiefs either, but I can see that happening. That would be big for Mahomes. That would be like a big receiver he hasn't had since like Tyreek, in my opinion. Um, number 3, Matthew Stafford to the Jets. I think you said that as well.
That was my number 3.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got Matthew Stafford to the Jets. I think that'll be a good fit for him. Aaron Glenn, the new coach with a veteran quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe you can draft some young pieces around them. You already got Devontae there. Maybe you can try to keep him there. But yeah, number 2, I got um, the Falcons trade Cousins to Cleveland. That's what I got at number 2. And number 1, obviously, it's got to do with my Eagles. That they get Myles Garrett some way, somehow. We get Myles Garrett. I heard he is interested in coming to Philly. So, Howie Roseman, get on your phone. We know you. This is what you do. Make it happen, brother. That's my number 1. But
Gotcha.
yeah, but no, let's go into it's getting dark over here too where I'm at, by the way.
It is getting a little dark over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we
All
still
right,
gonna make it
we're
happen.
almost done here. I do have a quick game for you. Um,
Yes.
it is just going to be simply called He Said, She Said. And
Mm-hmm.
she, meaning me, is going to read
Mm-hmm.
you a couple of statements about potential things that could happen in the NFL, either in the off season or next year or future stuff. So I am going to make a statement and I want you to give me and just to be clear, you haven't heard any of these. And I want you to just give me your first impression feedback.
All
Agree,
right.
disagree. I don't necessarily agree with all these statements, so we can get into it a little bit. So I've got a
Got
couple
you.
of statements for you. And you just put one of these, the first one, you just put this on your top 5 off-season moves, but she said, the Cowboys will make a huge move this offseason.
Yes, I do agree with that they will make a huge move. I do
Yeah, you
agree.
said Cup. You said you want to.
Yeah, Cooper Cup. I think they should go get Cooper Cup. He would help with CeeDee Lamb. He could go in the slot. He can line up outside. You can line up Cooper Cup anywhere. That would be a huge pick for them,
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't have faith in the Cowboys to go get a huge deal done in this offseason. I don't think the Cowboys are going to see much luck until the end of the Jerry Jones era. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have faith in them to get a big deal like that done. But I mean, I saw, in your wish list that you do. So, I
Yeah,
you got the faith in them.
I definitely do. Yeah, I think they're gonna make a big move. They got to.
Mhm. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got to compete with everybody else uh in their conference, so
Well,
division, sorry. because Commanders look fantastic. The Eagles look fantastic. So they got a lot of work to do over there. The next statement that I have for you, she said the Chiefs will miss the Super Bowl next year.
I agree with that. I don't think the Chiefs will be back next year. It'll be kind of a rebuilding, even though they'll still make the playoffs, but it'll be kind of like a rebuild. They won't be as strong and solid as they are or have been. So
Who
yeah, I
takes
agree
them
with that.
down? Who do you think takes them down? Is it going to be the Bills?
Lamar. I
Is
think
it going to
Lamar.
be the Ravens? Or is it going to be the Bengals?
I think it's going
Somebody's
to
going
be
to
the
be taking them
Ravens.
down.
I think it's going to be the Ravens.
Lamar still hasn't proven himself in the playoffs, so.
I know, but I think next year's. I hate to say this. I think next year is the year for Lamar. I mean, he's got all the other accolades. I think he gets to a Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
Well,
All right. We just kind of went through this whole situation with our mock draft, but she said the Titans will take a QB number 1 in the draft.
I don't think so. No, I disagree.
Yeah.
You know, they got my guy Will Levis there. They're gonna get some more pieces around him, and if then it doesn't work out this year, then they'll probably draft a quarterback next draft. Be my
I think
opinion.
I think that they have quite a few needs over in Tennessee. Um, I don't know that quarterback is their immediate need, but
Mm-hmm.
your boy Will Levis is not necessarily a fan favorite over there in Tennessee. I do think quite a few fans would like to see the Titans take a quarterback number 1.
Yeah, definitely.
They have the
Some of
opportunity.
them do. I'm
Yeah.
here right now. Trust me. Some of them do definitely want them to take a quarterback.
Um, and then my last statement for you, and I just want to hear you go off on this one.
All right.
She said, the Eagles are not the NFL's next dynasty.
Ah, ah. Who in the hell said that?
I saw a debate on it on the internet last week.
Well, I'm gonna just put it to y'all like this, man. Whoever said that, all right, I'm gonna just put it to y'all like this. I think the Eagles. I'm not just saying this is because it's my team. Like this team is really fucking talented. You know, they're young. They're like top 3 youngest teams in the league. This is a dynasty team. As long as Jalen Hurts keeps continuing doing what they're doing, Howie Roseman keeps drafting well, putting pieces and adding pieces where it's needed. This is going to be a team that's going to be wrecking with. They done got over the hump by winning one now. They know how to do it. They're there. They know how to get there. They know what it takes. This is going to be a dynasty team for sure. I got them and the Ravens in the Super Bowl next year. This is a dynasty. I don't want to hear it. Whoever said that, just go ahead and wash your mouth out. Go brush your teeth, wash your mouth out.
You
Cause
got a lot
you
of
got the
faith
yuck
in
mouth.
playoff Lamar. What the hell?
Yeah, that's my pick. It's a bold pick. But you know, I just couldn't go with what everybody else did, so I just went with a bold pick. Obviously, I want my Eagles to make it back there, but I will say this: if it's not the Eagles, I want to say it'll be Detroit. If it's not the Eagles, it'll be Detroit and the Ravens and Baltimore. But and if it's not Baltimore, if it's not Baltimore, I got your boys. As long as they keep all their pieces, you know.
Yeah, I would love to see the Bengals make the Super Bowl next year. I think it's definitely doable. And I'm rooting for it every day. If it's not them though, I think it'll be
Mm-hmm.
the Bills. Somebody's gonna get over the hump first. Um, I mean, obviously the Bengals have already beaten the Chiefs to go to a Super Bowl, but I think somebody's got to get over the hump. And Josh Allen has come so close so many times, and I think possibly if it's not the Bengals, that the Bills do it next year because honest to God, I don't know if I could see if I could like watch a Bengals Lions Super Bowl because
Yeah.
I do appreciate the Lions so much and I do want to see them win one as well
Mm-hmm.
eventually at some point. And I think, God, this makes me such a bad Bengals fan. I think the Lions window is smaller, is shorter. And so if we were to
They're
see
moving.
a Lions Bills Super Bowl in
Yeah, hold on.
the 2025 season with the Detroit Lions win, I'll take a 2026 Bengals Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, definitely. I could see that for sure. Definitely
I
could
could
see
see
that.
it going that way because I do think the Bengals defense is in need of some rehab and I think we just need to make a playoff run next year
Mm-hmm.
and need to make a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
As
don't
you
know
can
what
see,
it's
I
going to
stepped
be.
outside.
Every single year that the Bengals play, I think they can win a Super Bowl. Every single year that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase line up on offense, I think we can win a Super Bowl. So, you know, you never know. But
Yeah, you definitely
I
never know.
wanted the problem is I wanted a Bills Lions Super Bowl this year
This
and I
year?
didn't get it. And I'm so disappointed that I didn't get to see it. That I still there's part of me that still wants to see it,
Yeah.
but I can't take my Bengals out. So what do I do?
I feel you.
What do I
I feel
do?
you. I can't take my Eagles out. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
But if I had to, I would say it would be Detroit. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we could get a Bengals Eagles Super Bowl and then we'll really
That
fight on.
would be, oh yeah, that would be a week for somebody them to see, wouldn't it? Us going at it over that,
Well,
debating that matchup.
that's the
I'm rooting for that matchup actually, so we can do that. That would
I'm
be,
definitely rooting for that matchup.
yeah, that
Yes.
would be
Well,
great
that
for
is
sure.
he said, she said. She said a lot of controversial things and you had a lot of disagreements. So
Yeah, let's talk about the NFL and the new rules that they are making about the kickoff and the onside kick. Is that correct?
there's the NFL is basically like mulling over two different rule changes to the new kickoff and potentially also making some changes to the onside kick. Nothing has been decided yet,
Mm-hmm.
but the internet is definitely up in arms over a few of these things. So, I mean, obviously last year they made a dramatic change with the new kickoff rules. And I think it was mostly viewed as a success by the
Yeah.
NFL, but they are definitely mulling over some other changes. So the co-chairman of the NFL's competition committee, Rich McKay, said that the new kickoff rule will likely undergo some changes in the offseason. The most likely scenario would see touchback moved from 30-yard line to the 35-yard line, which would discourage the kicking team from simply booting the ball out of the end zone on a kickoff.
Which will allow the players to have more returns. They want to see more returns.
They want to see more kickoff returns.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
But I'm
The
sitting here like,
35 is
move
crazy.
it back to the 20. I want to see teams bring
Yeah,
the
that's
ball
what
down
I'm
the
in.
field. Like
Yeah,
you're
push
basically
the ball at
you're
the 20-yard
nearly
line.
put if you put them on the 35-yard line, you're like nearly putting them in field goal range. Like
Yeah.
at this point, because we're getting longer and longer field goals every year too. So like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I think we should be moving it back, not forward.
Not forward, yeah.
The kickoff rule, the new kickoff rules from last year. I mean, yeah, the dynamic kickoff was interesting, or the interesting change, but if you're going to tell me that we're moving it up to like the 35-yard line, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy to me. I mean, I understand it because of the return thing, because I do like to see more returns too. Kick returners aren't, they're like, people talk about running backs being a lost cause. Kick returners are the lost cause nowadays. They're not like they were, the Devin Hesters and the Dante Halls, and I could go on, good kick returners. But yeah, I would like to see it from that aspect of having more returns, but I just don't like that 35. That's just like a bit much. Maybe they should just do it where they give you you can only kick it out the end zone 3 times a game or something, and or however many times a game, and you only get a certain amount of times you can kick it out of the end zone a game, and then all the other ones have to be in play. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're going to
That's
wait and see on some of the feedback now that they've kind of put it out there,
hmm
what people are saying about it. Because I
I'm
think
not
the
the
whole point
35
of
is
that,
crazy. Yeah.
the whole point of that possible change is to make things more interesting for the viewer. So it's
Yeah.
really gonna, I think, impact them, like what the viewers have to say about it. The other thing that they're playing around with is the onside kick, because it's super boring and it's so rarely recovered. So I do think
hmm
they're playing around with like some yardage situation, and I'm not entirely sure what they're doing there, but they are looking to make it less boring is essentially what they're saying. So
Yeah.
I'm on board with that because
Yeah.
it's pretty much like a no-go. Like the onside kick is statistically nearly impossible to recover.
Yeah, it is. It does happen every now and then, though, for sure.
It happens, but I think it only happened 3 times out of more than 40 times
Yeah.
there.
No, definitely.
So
The percentage is not high for sure.
not a high percentage. So,
Yeah.
I mean, just to make things more interesting at the end of the game, I do think that they're playing around with that. So,
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that they're trying to make the game better for the viewer. I definitely like that.
yeah, there's
Like
definitely a
like it.
commitment to entertainment value.
Yeah.
Well.
And like I said, the kick return thing, I'm not against it, totally against it. I think the 35 is a bit much, but I do want to see more returns
I want to see
for
more
sure.
returns too, but I'd rather see teams like have to take it down the field and not be basically set up.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
They're like 2 first downs from a field goal there.
Yeah.
Like that's too much.
hmm No, definitely. Well, we got to get, we put out a questionnaire for the people to ask us some questions, sports related and non sports related, so maybe they can kind of get to know us a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that. I'll go ahead and read them off, and hopefully they're not too crazy of questions by the people.
Yeah. Hit me. Let's go.
All right, I got you. This is from at DJ the Builder One. He says, "Do you feel the Cavs could win it all this year? And if not, who?"
Mm,
I think they're in the mix for sure. I think the Cavs are definitely in the mix in the East with the Celtics. I do believe they have a chance to win it all. For them to actually do it would be a lot. And if they wouldn't win it, I really don't have a favorite, but I would like to say Boston would be the team again, or the Lakers. Those are just my opinions, but
I mean,
I
yeah,
do I do see the Cavs as a contender though.
I do see the Cavs as a contender. I think the Celtics are still the favorite. Um, but I mean, the Cavs have a lot of promise. And if they were to beat the Celtics this year, I would feel that's an overachievement. I feel like they're
hmm
more setting themselves up for a promising future,
Yeah.
and a little bit more longevity. But
hmm
I agree. I think it's either going to be the Cavs or the Celtics. I think it's going to come down to those two teams
Yep. Me
for
too.
the East. So personally, no, I think the Celtics are going to end up beating them out for it. But
We'll
again,
see. Yeah,
it would, in my opinion, be an overachievement for the Cavs to win this year.
yeah, definitely. Um, Next question. I was gonna do the names, but I'm not gonna do the names. I'm gonna just leave them anonymous. Um, let's say a favorite movie or book.
Ooh.
Those are good ones.
Okay.
I'll let
Are
you
we
go
going
first.
current, or are we going like of your whole life, long
Yeah, I
term
guess just of your just period. Yeah, a
period?
favorite book of all time and your favorite movie of all time.
Okay. My favorite book series of all time has to be the Percy Jackson books. Some kids grew up Harry Potter people. I I was a Percy Jackson kid. I was so into
Hmm.
Greek mythology that I actually ended up in college going to ancient Greece, seeing all the ruins, getting to see the Parthenon. I will admit I cried seeing the Parthenon, seeing the history there. I
Yeah,
was a huge, huge mythology nerd. And I loved the Percy Jackson books, and I do think I got a lot of my personality from those books. It's definitely,
no,
I mean,
definitely.
look, I still, you know, reread every now and then and take a, look into it a little bit. Every now and then they
Hmm.
release new books still. It's definitely a kids series. Um, I think it's a great book for kids, a book series for like kids to get into.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I did. The movies are horrible. Don't watch the movies. Do you have a favorite book?
Um, well, as a kid, no. Now, probably more recent. I read the book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Um, that's probably like my favorite book right now, I would say. Um, Favorite
And
movie?
movie.
Um, that's a good one right there. I don't know. I don't know about recent, but I'll just throw one out there. Maybe I like the Black Hawk. I don't know if you ever saw a Black Hawk Down movie. That's like one of my favorites.
Mm.
I like goofy movies and shit too, like Tropic Thunder,
Yeah.
uh Shatas. I'm probably missing something too, but yeah, no, those are like I would say my favorite.
I mean, my top five I think stays pretty consistent. Sometimes it fluctuates, but I would
Hmm.
say if I had to think of like my all-time favorite movie that impacted me the most,
Yeah,
it would be The Karate Kid. But I
that's a good
also
one.
have an affinity for Good Will Hunting. Those are probably they always sit in my top two. I
Yeah,
think maybe The Karate Kid impacted more of my life, but Good Will Hunting is just one of my go-tos, one of my favorites.
got you. Now those are not bad movies. Those are great, both great movies. So
Classics, both of them.
yeah, yeah,
I
can't
I
go
do
wrong.
think for the people getting to know me on here, um my parents impacted a lot of my favorite movies. Like I have a lot of 80s classics that sit in my
Hmm.
favorite movies. Because my parents, when I was probably 5 or 6 years old, my dad specifically sat me down with like a list of movies that I had to see that were
Yeah.
required in my education. One of those being The Karate Kid, one of it being like the Star Wars franchise. Good Will Hunting was in there. So lots of
Hmm.
classics that were necessary for me to see as a kid.
Nah, that's dope. Yeah, nah, classic movies, like we said. Um, we'll go to the next question. It says, "Can the Warriors make a deep run in the playoffs with Jimmy buckets?"
A lot of
I
basketball.
mean, it's possible. The West is a little bit more tougher for me, but I don't see them winning the West. But I mean, it's possible. The Warriors are always in the mix with Curry
They're
around.
always in the mix. I don't see them making a deep. I mean, what is it? What is a deep
What's the deep run?
playoff
You know,
run?
past the first round, I can see them making it
Past
past
the
the first
first
round.
round,
Yeah,
yeah, but I don't see
that's
them
about it.
making a
Yeah,
deep, deep playoff run,
yeah.
even with Jimmy. So
Hmm. And then another question that says, "Will the Raiders ever figure it out?" I think they will. I think they're headed in the right direction. The stadium build, the relocation to Vegas, the Tom Brady effect, obviously, hiring all new GM staff, everything, just a full gut out rebuild.
yeah,
I think they can figure it out, and they probably will, depending on how well they draft.
yeah, they did. They
Uh,
did a full rebuild. So it's really going to come down to does that pan out or not. I do think there's
hmm.
something to be said about the Tom Brady effect, and we've talked about it on here a couple of times. I don't think they're that many pieces away from being a contender. So
Yeah, I don't think
I
so
mean,
either.
you get a couple of key pieces in there and you can get it figured out at least to, be a competitor at this point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, this one is probably my favorite question I've seen so far. It says, "When did you have the idea to create the podcast?" It's such a story behind this.
Wow, what a story behind
Yeah, it's crazy.
the birth of this podcast.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you want to
yeah,
start? You had the
yeah,
idea initially.
yeah. I'll start it, then we'll kind of go into it. I always thought about having a podcast. Obviously, I love sports, wanted to talk about it, but never just kind of went through with it. I had some friends kind of telling me to pursue it, and then I went to the Cincinnati Bengals Cleveland Browns game with a good friend of ours, Sean.
Yeah, shout out
Invited
to
us
Sean.
down. Yeah, shout out to Sean. He invited us, that me and Highlight down, to come watch the game, and he introduced us. And you and your friend Leah,
Leanne, yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
Leanne, yeah, yeah,
Shout out Leanne for being the
yeah, yeah.
vibe at the game. It's
Mm-hmm.
always the vibe. But
Yeah,
yeah, we spent some time together at the game, got to talking, and
yep,
obviously I'm a Bengals fan, so I was pretty invested in
yeah,
the game, and I was spitting out some takes for sure,
yeah,
things that I want to see. And
yep,
we were just talking shop, talking a little bit of football. Once you told me you were an Eagles fan, I think our conversations went a little deeper on like the
uh-huh,
NFL as a whole.
yeah,
And we were just kind of vibing with our
yeah. We had a
conversation. We
we
riffed
had.
pretty well off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you asked me, because I have a background in sports media, you asked me about the idea of starting a podcast, and I kind of started
Yeah.
to give you some advice, and then you asked me to come do it and be on it with you. So,
Yeah, yeah. It was like we were kind of just talking about NFL, and we were talking a lot. And we you kind of started with the Bengals and then with the Eagles, and we kind of just circled around, and you know, we both could kind of tell we were sports junkies. We kind of talked about that in our conversation.
yeah.
Um, just kind of stating how we hate talking to someone who doesn't know sports and act like they do. It's kind of irritating, but yeah, I kind of told you about the podcast, and then I kind of asked if you were interested in, being on the podcast and co-hosting it with me, and you were down, and literally after that, we kind of it was like what 2 weeks,
Not even.
maybe.
You
Yeah,
reached out to me literally the next week. I kind of left it to you. I mean, it was your
mm-hmm,
idea, and
yeah,
I wasn't sure, if you were just hyping me up or if you truly wanted to kind of do this
mm-hmm,
together. And so you reached out to me literally within a couple of days, not
yeah,
that long after we met, and then we jumped on a call and then recorded the first episode the next week. So yeah, within
yeah.
within two
It
weeks
was
our
like,
first episode was up, which
yeah, I
is
know. I think the
crazy.
game was like at the end of the like around the Christmas, like right around that time,
Mm-hmm.
and then
First
we kind of
episode came out the first week
January
of January.
1st.
Yeah, January
Yeah.
1st. So
Uh-huh.
literally less than a week.
Less than a
That's
week.
that's
Yeah, I had
crazy.
hit you. Yeah, and then we were going on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I love
that.
when people are as passionate as I am, and the fact that you truly took the initiative to reach out and get it started immediately. That
Mm-hmm.
to me was my deciding factor of like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this with him and make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. It was. It was. It definitely was a full surface for sure. It was like I was. It was like okay, I need to do it, and then I met you, and it was like we talked about sports. I'm like, oh yeah, you know your shit for real. And
I think it
women don't,
surprised
because
people.
women don't get the credit. A lot of women, there's a lot of women out here that know sports, but they get discriminated against because it's the whole stereotype thing. But I obviously knew that you knew your sports. You were breaking down things to me, and I was just applauding you the whole time. Like, oh yeah,
What I
yeah, she
appreciated
knows her
about
shit.
this particular opportunity is finding your niche as a female sports enthusiast is hard sometimes because
Hmm.
you feel like there are a lot of really incredible female content creators out there that do kind of sports for the girls and
Yeah.
like explaining sports to other women and other people who aren't super invested in sports or super
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable about sports that want to be. And I never really saw that as my niche. I don't always connect with like either dumbing the game down or portraying it. Like I see stuff online, some really great content creators online who are like the NFL positions as Taylor Swift songs or as Taylor Swift ex-boyfriends or like the NBA like divisions as Disney Channel shows or whatever. I love all of that. I love all of those content creators and I watch all their stuff, but that
Yeah.
never really felt like my niche. I wanted to come on here and talk, major storylines, break down some games.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. This just seemed like the perfect opportunity to do that. And you really give me and champion that platform for me. So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no problem. I appreciate you. Hell, you already know how I feel about it. I tell you all the time, like I appreciate it. You and like I said, you give the voice, you give the voice of the women, as well, and let women know, like, hey, because I've had women tell me this, like, like she makes me more interested because I've never seen a woman, you know, be so in tune into the sports and so passionate. That's the word they use, passionate, you know. And it's just like, yeah, so it kind of like the stands in the name, he said, she said, you get the perspective from the guy's side and the woman's side, so it's the best of both worlds for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we'll go with this as a next question. It'll says, who is the GOAT in basketball and why? So who's your GOAT in
Mm,
basketball?
I think my goat is Jordan. I mean, there's you can make a case for other people, but like for me growing up, uh,
Yeah.
same thing with like the movies, right? Like my dad had a very big impact on the sports that I watched and the things that I watched and the players that I followed. So
Hmm.
for him it was Jordan. For me, I would say the same.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah. I mean, growing up as a kid, for sure, it definitely was Jordan. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely, 100%. Even though Jordan wasn't my favorite player, like he wasn't never like my favorite player growing up. But obviously, he was the best player growing up. But
I think if you're
you know,
going goat, it's hard to. I mean,
yeah, I
like
was
when
like,
I was for me, like in my age and a couple, younger too, but we grew up more in like the LeBron era.
yeah,
Um,
hmm
but I would, I mean, I
and
still say
that, yeah, like that's what I was gonna get into. Like, as we older now, like to me, like if I had to pick between Jordan and LeBron, I'm taking LeBron. Like,
okay.
just as far as player wise, the whole GOAT thing, as far as rings and all this and that and stats and people want to do, they can have that. But like, I would say, yeah, my childhood GOAT was probably Jordan. My adult GOAT is LeBron. Overall GOAT, LeBron for
Mm.
me.
Special shout out to Kobe for being the
Definitely.
women's sports champion goat for
Yeah.
like for me
And
growing
Kobe's in
up.
that GOAT debate too for a lot of
Yeah,
people as
for me
well.
growing up, not only was he a great basketball player, but he was a girl dad and a champion of women's sports. And so I always appreciated him for all of that. So personally, for me, that's another goat.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. Like I said, LeBron. Yeah, no, Kobe's definitely the man for sure, 100%. He's definitely in that debate with a lot of people. He's some people's GOAT in a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
Some people say he's better than LeBron and he's better than Jordan, but I mean, you can't go wrong with none of those guys for sure. Um, we'll go with this for our last question of the night. It says, "Do y'all think Ryan Day needs booted even though he pulled through with a good year?" No, I wouldn't say he needs booted. He just won a national championship, so he saved his job for sure, 100%. I mean, Not they lost to Michigan, kind of put him on the fire, but he kind of put that fire out by winning it all. He's just gonna have to beat Michigan next year for sure.
Yeah,
But
I think he saved his job for another year. I think he'll still sit on the hot seat a little bit next season.
you think so?
There are wins that he has to have, especially like Ohio State fans are so passionate and so dedicated, and they want, the best for their team. And I think
Yeah, and
he was on the hot seat for so long that yes, everybody is satiated by a national championship at this moment. But if he goes into
hmm
next season and they lose to Michigan again, or they lose against top five opponents, like he's kind of known for,
no, you're
I
right.
think we'll fall right back. Like he could fall right back into old patterns, and if they fall back into old patterns, then I think the fans will follow. And so I do
Definitely.
think this is a pivotal year for him, where he's on the not the hot seat, but the warm seat,
Yeah,
right? Like,
it's
is
going to get
is
hot in
one national
November for
championship
sure.
enough, or what does this next year have to be? So I don't think they need to fire him. I don't think they need to give him the boot yet. I think
Yeah.
this is the make or break year. What do they do this year following their national championship run?
Well, it's hard to kind of go back to back. I mean, and
I don't think they
they
have to win again. I don't think they have to. I want to be so
no.
clear. I
I'm
don't
not
think they have
saying
to
you.
win again.
I'm just
But
speaking. I'm just speaking for me. Like obviously, like they won this year. It's going to be hard for them to go back to back, right?
mhm.
So what's going to be the biggest game of the year? It's going to be the Michigan game. So he's going to obviously have to win that game. It doesn't matter who else they lose to, and their schedule next year is favored for them. I don't want to say it's weak, but it's highly favored for them. They could go easily go undefeated, be undefeated in Michigan week. As long as they take care of business against Texas that first game of the year, they could be undefeated going into that Michigan game. And he's going to have to get it done in order for him to not get the boot because obviously that's my team. I want them to go to the national championship, but will it happen? It's still a lot that's got to play out. You're going to have a new quarterback next year. It's a lot of pieces you're replacing on the defense. So, things got to work out. But Ohio State definitely doesn't rebuild, they reload for sure. But the game is going to have to be the Michigan game. Ryan Day's got to get that game for sure. Like, nothing else matters. So, yeah, if he doesn't win that, then he will get the boot, in my opinion, which is crazy to say, but after winning the national title, but I mean, and then like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get fired though after the Michigan game, even if they lost. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, because it's like, who else are you going to get? Are you going to get? It's like who else?
Yeah. I mean,
But
what are the candidates right now? I
I mean,
mean,
there's some candidates. I know. I'm gonna tell you right now. There's some Ohio State people probably are going to be yelling at this. Like, who else can you get? They're going to say Eddie George. They're going to say go get Marcus Freeman. Try to get Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. They're going to say all kind of stuff, but it's just like who else are you going to get really? Even though I agree with the fans, he's got to beat Michigan. We're tired of it. Can't do five in a row.
yeah, this is the make or break year. I
Yeah.
don't I don't think he needs to be fired.
hmm
But come next year, we could be having a very different conversation. It all is going to depend on those
Yeah. On that game
how
in
many
November.
patterns you repeat.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna come down on the game in November for sure. But no, that's it for the questionnaire. We'll definitely have more of those in the future for sure. Those were like easy questions. I'm actually surprised
Yeah.
that we didn't get any like more difficult questions, but maybe
Yeah.
next time for
Not
sure.
not a ton personal stuff either.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Not a lot of personal.
Not
I thought it
hard.
was
Not I can keep the
yeah,
walls up a little bit
yeah.
longer.
Nothing all sports related mostly. So it's just like, yeah, it was easy for sure. But yeah, that's wraps it up for us on the He Said She Said Sports Talk podcast. I'm your host, Big Red, along with Tony. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys next week. And it's always love and peace.